Hey there, everybody. Hi, I'm Nancy Merland. Hi, replay viewers. How are you doing? I am so glad that you're here, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today. As you can see from the description, I'm going to talk about some Zoom and video conferencing best practices. This keeps coming up in a lot of the groups that I'm in and a lot of discussions that I'm in on all sorts of social media. And people are saying, what do I do here? What are some best practices? You know, we're being called into these meetings more than we ever have before. A lot of people are getting sick of them, and they just want to know what are some best practices. And so I'm going to share some of those with you today. So as you can see, some Zoom and video conferencing best practices. Just two quick things. If you happen to be in my Facebook group, then you will see a little link that says allow StreamYard. Click here to let StreamYard show you, basically so that I know who you are when you're making a comment. And that way I can see. Otherwise, you look anonymous to me. And that's not good. And the other thing is that if you think you have anybody else that might find this valuable, please click the share button. I would appreciate that so much. All right. Well, why don't we get into it? If we haven't met before, my name's Nancy Merland, and I'm the president of Merland Marketing and Social Media. And what do? I am a marketing, business development, content, social and digital media advisor for lawyers and their legal marketers. So let's get started with this. Again, some Zoom and video conferencing best practices. One of the very first things that I want you to do is this. I want you to download the software that comes with your webcam. And some of you have an external webcam. I am looking into an external webcam at you right now. And it comes with, I just went to Logitech's website and I downloaded the software that came with it. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to screen share here for just a second so I can see, so you can see what that might look like. Here we are. Let's go back up here. Okay, before you log into your meeting, what I want you to do is I want you to download and crank up this software because, and you can, I'll show you my mouse a little bit here. It is right here. And you can do all sorts of things that you probably didn't even know. And don't you feel like you're looking at two of me? Well, you kind of are. And you can do some things in this software before you get started to make sure that you look as good as you can look. And as you're seeing here, you can go standard or widescreen. Don't worry about these settings here. Field of view can be important because if I have it on 65, then I'm going to be much closer to you. If I have it on 78, it's a little bit broader and you can see more. Just if I have it on 78 degrees, you can see a little bit more of my room. If you don't want people to see a little bit more of your room, then you would have probably clicked on 65 degrees so that it's a much narrower angle. So that's a good thing for you to do. So make sure you download the software that comes with your camera, okay? And look at these settings. You'll see up here, there's home and there's advanced. So I want you to look over here at advanced for a second, because here are some things that you can do in the advanced section of the software that comes with your camera. And on mine, for example, because I use, as you can see down here at the bottom, I use a Logitech Brio as my external camera that I have attached to the top of my computer. And I can do some different things. Like I can adjust the brightness, I can adjust contrast. And once you adjust brightness, you do want to fiddle with contrast a little bit. And then color intensity. You have to be really careful about this one, and I'll show you why in just a second, all right? I don't mess with auto white balance. Those of you that mess with video settings, you might want to do that. So let's not worry about that. And then the other thing that I want you to be very careful about is, as I said, this color intensity. And here's why. Because when you mess with this too much, this is what can happen. And this is what I don't want to have happen. So you have to be very careful. Obviously, I have overblown this one just for effect. But what you can see is that if you mess with the color intensity too much, you might be just a little bit too hot, hot looking. So you don't want to do that. So that's what I want you to be careful of. All right. And then here's the next thing that I want you to think about. I want you to invest in some additional lighting. It's not very expensive. And I put this together so that I could show you what I'm using. And I'm using it right now. It is there are so many. I'll tell you this, even though this shows, as you can see, currently unavailable, don't despair, because if you look on Amazon, you are going to see a ton of different companies that make this exact same thing. All right. So what you can see here, it comes with a handy little carrying case, which I really haven't needed because nobody can leave home. So where am I going to carry it? Right. And as you can see, it has a nice tripod. The tripod can actually stand on the floor. It can get tall. Or it can be on a desk, and it's literally right behind my monitor right now. And as you can see, it comes with a little holder that you can put your cell phone in. I don't have mine in because I'm live streaming through my webcam, my external webcam, my Logitech Brio. And as you can see here, it gives us 3 different, at least this one does, it gives you 3 different settings. And I'm going to show you why those are important and why I would recommend. I mean, I think, just so you know, I think I might have spent, I don't know, $40 or less on this one. Mine is, as you can see, it's an 8-inch. They also have 10-inch ones. The bigger ones are okay if you want to invest in a bigger light, but it's really just for desktop and for our purposes, for just getting in there and getting it done. To buy the big old ring lights and spending a whole bunch of money on it, for right now, I wouldn't worry about that. But let me show you here why this is significant and why we care about the different filters. Right now, I have one filter on, and let me put me back in the picture so I can show you the difference, because I want you to look. Right now, I am in one of the filters that I would call more of it looks a little peach to me, but watch what happens. Did you see where I got a little bit whiter there? My face got a little brighter, maybe a truer color. And then here, it's a little bluish. And it's going to look a little bit different on different platforms even. So, you might be it just depends on how it's being transmitted. You might see, Facebook doesn't necessarily have as high a resolution. So you might see me in a little bit different color and a little bit different clarity than you might if you were over here watching me on LinkedIn. And let me show you also from within these different filters. Let me show you what else we can do. We can go up and down with the severity or the brightness of the lighting. I'm going to turn it all the way down. And you can see this is as low as it goes. And then watch as I turn it up. I'm just showing you how many levels. That's number 2. That's number 3. That's number 4. That's number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. And then number 10. And that's as bright as it goes. So you can see that you can help your lighting drastically. What I would also do, and let me turn this down a little because it's a little bit bright. What I also would recommend that you not do, this is so important. So listen to me on this one. I want you to, if you have any light that is visible above you or behind you, and I kind of have both here because I have some lights that are right up above that tapestry back there. And then I have some that are off to the side a little bit. I am often in meetings and see live streams with people that have office lights, the fluorescent office lights, or sometimes they have a window behind them. And even though maybe a shade is down or it's closed a lot, oftentimes what happens is that, hi, Amy. Thank you for breaking down the tools. Amy Verholst, a good friend of mine, thank you for breaking down the tools of the social media live trade, Nancy. It's nice to see them all in one place and to get recommendations from a pro who uses these daily. You are so kind. Thank you so much. What a nice thing to say. And so sometimes you might have a window behind you that has light coming through it, even when it's a gray day, or if you have the overhead lights, it's going to trick your camera. And if it was a little bit later, I think I could recreate why that's a problem. What it does is it tricks the camera into into thinking it needs less light. So the iris doesn't open up as much and you can be silhouetted and look dark. So if you've seen yourself on camera and you're wondering, why is that happening? What you do is you need to either turn off, and I have no office lights on right now except for my little 8-inch ring light that I showed you a moment ago. And I'll show you before we move on to the next point again, in case you just joined us and missed it. But what you don't want is to have competition from overhead lights, lights behind you, or a window behind you that's throwing out some light, because it will shut the iris down and it will make you dark. And you don't want that. So again, toggle between, these different settings and decide which one you like. And I will tell you that changes all parts of the day, because different windows are going to throw different light out for you, or your computer might have what's often really nice to get a lot of light on you is to open up a Word document, stretch it across the whole back side of your screen, make it as big as you can, because just think about that. Think how much white light is coming. I mean, make it a blank document. And think about how much white light would come off of your monitor, and even turn up, you can do it on your keyboard, turn up your brightness settings so that it throws some light at you. So that often helps if you don't have one of these little ring lights, all right? And so worry about your lighting, because it does help make a difference. And also, if you're the darkest one on Zoom, you're not going to stand out. Not that the whole goal is to stand out and to take attention away from somebody, but you want to present yourself in the best light, if you will, possible. No pun intended, really, but it worked, right? I didn't plan on it. The other thing I want you to do is to know that when you go on Zoom, and I will show this to you here, I'm going to screen share again so that you can see it. And I told you I would show my little ring light again. Yeah, that's the ring light. Again, this one's unavailable. Don't worry about it. There are other brands. And again, under $50 probably. And here I want you to see about this setting on Zoom. Before you actually turn on your camera and your microphone on Zoom, when you go to either when you're initiating it or when you are a guest, before you even join that Zoom meeting, you can click to actually check your audio settings. And when you say, yeah, I want to check my audio settings, and again, you're not live in the meeting yet, all right? Or you haven't joined it, then what you will see, and I've kind of pinpointed it here, is that yes, you can do an audio check like they've offered, and you do want to do that, and you want to make sure your the correct microphone is chosen, and you want to test it. You would click there and make sure that the input level here is that it's bouncing up into an appropriate range, and test your speaker also. But you also want to then go up here and take advantage of this video setting. And even though it's not highlighted, you can click on video and you can look at yourself. So even though you tested yourself in your software for your webcam, which was my first suggestion, I also want you to look at yourself on Zoom, because more often than not, even though I have adjusted my lighting in my software for my webcam, I get into a Zoom room and I do this video check before I go live, and my lighting is different. So I shut down my camera and I crank it back up and I adjust my lighting a little bit. I turn it down and I go back over to Zoom, and my lighting's better. So it's going to change by situation and by platform and between your webcam software and Zoom, for example. So make sure you do these checks, all right? The next thing we're going to talk about is camera placement. And I don't have a slide for that, so I'm going to come back to me. Camera placement is very important. And I'm going to show you some differences. And you're either going to crack up, you're going to say, oh my gosh, yep, I've done that. Or you're going to say, I hadn't even thought about this yet. Let's see, we have hi, Nancy, Liz, Merlin, great info. Can you drop a link to this setup? If it's the camera that you were talking about, I will add it to the comments a little bit later. And also, can you click on allow StreamYard to show your identity? Then that way I know who you are. It's right there in the Facebook group. So thanks. Camera placement. Here's what's important to know here. I want you to be always at the very top of your view. your window, all right? It's important that you are very close to the top. It's just a quality look. Here are the alternatives. Hang on. I just got to get situated here. You could have this. Some people kind of get casual and they kind of lean back like this. They look slouchy. And what is this? I mean, what do you think of me right now, other than I'm being goofy? What does it say to you that I'm really not, or that, you know what, I might lean down over here? And what does that say to you? I mean, it says that Nancy doesn't care. And again, I'm hosting this, so I have to care, obviously, more than you do right now because you're not on camera with me. But it's very important that you put your head up at the top, all right? And that you also don't go way back here. I've seen people that I feel like they're across the room from me because they're back so far. So I want you to get close enough to your webcam and to the top, and also to your microphone, so that you have a nice frame and that you are front and center. And you might even want to, and I put this in here, you might want to also sit forward just a tiny bit, because when you don't, again, it can be a slouchy thing. I have had, if anybody wants to come over and help me with this when the coronavirus is over, I've had a box in my office for about the last year, probably more than that. And it's a riser for my desk where I can actually stand when I want to. And it's, even if you ever want or you have a standing desk, it's a nice thing to use because your energy level is very different. And it's akin to when you're in a room presenting. I mean, pretend you're sitting on a panel and you're at a desk, or you're given a podium. Even you're not sitting, then you're standing. But then pretend when you're out with people and you're actually standing there, and you just carry yourself differently. So if you happen to have a standing desk, then gosh, so much the better, because I think you're going to notice a difference. You just have to be careful not to wiggle too much. And that's easy to do when you're standing. So one of these days, I will lift everything up and get that riser in place, and then I'll test that for you as well. The other thing I want you to watch out for is to look at your camera. And sometimes that's very awkward. And the tendency is, particularly in a Zoom room, is to look around at all of the squares of people. And what I want you to watch my eyes right here and pretend I'm in a Zoom room, and I'm looking around at everybody else, and it's my turn to make a comment, but I want to look at somebody. And I just want to make a comment. So I go find them on the screen, and I just look directly at them, and I feel like I'm talking to them because I can see them. They're down there on Zoom, right? Well, no. Even if that person's down there and you are making a comment directly at them, it's as if you are talking to them face to face. So what I want you to do, as awkward as it is, and you get used to it, I promise, is I want you to go ahead and look at your camera. And if you were talking to somebody, I would say, for example, Gail O'Connor has left us a comment saying, I did not get any software with my new webcam. What should I do? All very helpful. Thank you, Nancy. Well, let's pretend, Gail, that we were on Zoom together and you were in a little square down there, and I would look down there, and my tendency could be to say, Gail, what I would do is that I would go to Logitech's website. But no, instead I'm going to say, Gail, thanks so much for the comment. What I would do is go to Logitech's website, and I would look for your specific camera or whatever you have purchased and try to find the software that came or that should come. Mine didn't, none of mine. I have two of them. I have a Logitech C920 that I have now gifted to my husband for his laptop. But I have this Logitech Brio. I went to their website and I downloaded software. So you can do that. So when I look into the lens of my camera, then it looks more like I'm talking directly to you, I hope. And when you look directly into your camera, it looks like you are looking directly at the person who asked you the question. Or if it is a Zoom room full of people, and maybe you're presenting, or even if you're just in a room and somebody has asked you a question, try to look at the camera to answer, because you know what's going on there. You are on the other side of that camera. And so I want to look at you. It is as if I am looking at you digitally, and I'm looking straight at you and having a conversation. And the other thing that's happening is that everybody else in that Zoom room is observing you, or everybody else in your presentation at the firm or at a client is looking at you as well, and they're watching you answer a question. And if your eyes are looking directly at them and they can see what's on your face, they can see the empathy, they can see your professionalism, then that speaks volumes for you. If you're looking around the Zoom room and you're looking for different faces, oh my gosh, there's a familiar person, then it just doesn't, it looks a little jittery. It just doesn't look as friendly and as warm as if you were looking directly at that camera and showing some empathy, smiling every once in a while when it's appropriate, of course. And so I would encourage you to do that. I have a short little hack for you. You're going to laugh at this one. If you have trouble, because these external webcams and even the internal ones they're very black, and it's hard sometimes to see the little lens right in the middle of it. So here's my hack. You can pay me big dollars for this stuff, everybody. Get a pack of these. I mean, in fact, get a pack. How many are in here? It doesn't even tell me. Oh, right there. 924, Nancy. 924 of these little puppies in this little package. And you're only going to need one, unless you want to use one on your phone too. They rub off. But all you do is you take one and you put it around. I tend to use pink because pink's one of my favorite colors, so you can tell. Pink ones are gone. But you know what? You just want to put it around the lens. Be careful, because I have, depending on the webcam that I'm using, sometimes it's a little too close, and this is a little too tight for my webcam, and you can kind of see a little border. Then you just cut it in half. That's what mine is right now. I have a yellow one up there. It's cut in half. Half of it's placed above the lens, half of it's below. So if you're having trouble focusing on the lens, or you've forgotten, all of a sudden, if you happen to look up, you're going to see this, all those colors are bright. You're going to see that reminder to look directly in the lens. So that's my little, Avery label, 2-cent, if that, hack for you. All right. So, give that a try. In fact, share them with friends, because you're never going to use 924 of those. All right. Yes. And also, Barbara, I was just thinking about this. Oh, I missed what that was referring to. So Barbara, I don't know, or Bonnie, if you can tell me what that was referring to. I'm not exactly sure, over on LinkedIn. And also, yes, just continue looking. My last one was just continue looking at the lens while you're being spoken to, while someone is answering your question too. Because if someone is answering a question that you asked, you are in essence still having a conversation, aren't you? So even though you're staring at a camera, what I want you to do is sorry, Gail, I didn't mean to put you on the spot by keeping you up there so long. What I want you to do is to continue looking in that camera. So make that eye contact, whether it is in person or it is digitally like this. Eye contact is as important in one place as it is in another. And you know what? Sometimes you only get one chance, right? To make that good first impression, or make that good 10th impression for that matter. And if you can look at someone, if you can give an understanding look, you can still hear them. So it's not unnatural, or it's not disingenuous to do that. Then make eye contact as much as you can. So let's very, very briefly go over what we said. We're going to download your camera software. So if it's Logitech, go to Logitech's website and look for the software that came with your camera. Invest in some additional lighting. And sometimes, if you can't get a hold of one of those, then you can test some other kinds of lighting in your room, and we can talk about this. I mean, when I help clients, I talk about other types of lighting that they could use as well. I want you to do an audio and a video check on Zoom before you turn either of those on, and check your quality. Your camera placement, very important. Get your head up there toward the top. Don't slouch down. Don't be way down here so that nobody can see you. The other thing I don't want you to do is that, yes, very important. So many of the laptops today have the camera, and I have a little 13-inch travel laptop, has this. The camera is in the bend, in the fold of your laptop. And so many times, and I have to exaggerate this so you can see it. So many times I see people doing this where they're looking down, and I can't even look down. I can't get that high. I'd be way out of the camera. They are leaning on their desks and they're looking down like this into the camera. And it is really awkward. And you know, the other thing that it does is it shows everything that you don't want to show here on your neck. And it also, when you look up, when a camera looks up on somebody, it can also accentuate every other, everything that you have on your face that you don't want to show. So what do you do in that case? Well, in that case, then what you're going to want to do often, if you have a laptop, is you might have to prop it up on a box so that it is more eye level to 1 inch above. Again, you want your camera eye level or about 1 inch above you. Don't make it too far up because then it just looks like you're staring up here when you're talking to somebody else, and it's not natural. What we're going for is as natural a look as possible, all right? That was the watch your head part. Watch your head, where it is in the camera. And then the lens reminder hack for you is just these little Avery labels. Let me know if you use it. Make eye contact. That was the other one. Eye contact is absolutely one of the most important things that I can recommend to you. So, give all these a try. Give one of them at a time a try until it becomes second nature. Take all of these, maybe make a little note and, see if you can remember to use them because they do make a huge difference. And let's see. Oh, Barbara. Yes, drawing attention to the webcam. Yeah, it is. And it's, Barbara, it is one of the easiest things to do is to forget to actually look in the lens as well. Deb, thank you. Deb Du Bois, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Pamela Foster, good use of big cookbooks that you never use. Amen to that, which would be, in my house, our house. A lot of cookbooks never go to use. Yes, those are good to prop things up on as well. So thanks for those comments as well. Looks like we have another one here. Oh, Gail, yeah, thank you. You are more than welcome. I appreciate your comment as well. And you know what? If you have any other questions, I help firms with this kind of live streaming and Zoom training and video conferencing all the time. And obviously, we're down to virtual training right now, which I do a lot of. So if, of course, if there's anything I can do to help you or your firm, of course, I would be happy to do that. And I'm so easy to find. I'm on all of the social networks, and then this is my email address. So please, let me know if you have any additional questions. I would be so happy to answer them and to help you or your firm in any other way that you would like. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate your time. I'm Nancy Merland with Merland Marketing and Social Media. Take care.